Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, Adam Draw Stuff. I'm Adam and I draw stuff, and today I'm going to be showing you how to draw Charmander. This guy right here. It's going to be pretty quick and simple like they usually are, so grab your pencil and paper and let's jump into it. Okay, so to get Charmander started, we're first going to draw a oval shape here for his head, and his jaw kind of comes out at an angle on the side of his head like that. So we're going to draw a curved line that goes out here to the left and curves back around underneath of his head and nearly touches the back of his head. And then I'm going to draw a line here, a vertical line, just to kind of give us a guideline that's going to cut his face in half and help us place his features a little bit more easily. So now we're going to, right underneath of this, draw his body. And his body is roughly 1.5 times the length of his head. So we'll figure that the bottom of his body is going to end about right there. And you don't have to be exact. I wonder if you can see that on camera. You don't have to be exact, but you know, in this general area, about 1.5 times the length of his body. So maybe we could even go a little bit lower. And to draw his body, we're just going to draw one big oval shape that extends from the bottom of his jaw all the way down to that line that we drew. And you can make him chunky, you can make him skinny, it doesn't really matter. And then it goes back up and connects with the back of his head to form his body. And what I usually do is, I've said it before in other videos, but what I usually do is start all my sketches really kind of messy and sketchy, just kind of map it into lines, and then I go back in and clean it up later. So I know it's going to look a little bit rough in the beginning, but we're going to get it taken care of before it's over. So there's his head and there's his body. We'll move up here and work on his face a little bit. So starting here on the left where his jaw curves out, we're going to draw a line that runs down here, a curved line that meets this halfway point of his face and then turns around and curves back upward, sort of mimicking the shape of his bottom jaw. And this line here is going to mark out his top jaw. And then starting here where these two lines meet again, we're going to draw another line that follows the bottom jaw again and connect that up with his top jaw. And that forms his wide open smiling mouth. And then we can add a couple little teeth in there because he has sharp little tiny pointed teeth. And then a nostril on either side of this line, pretty close to his top lip. Alright, so for his eyes, the baseline of the eyes, basically it's going to sit flush with the little intersection here of his jaw and the top of his head. So where these two meet, where these two lines meet, we'll draw a curved line here, and that'll give us a baseline where we can place the bottom of the eyes. So starting here on this base, we're going to draw a big curved oval shape that is flat at the bottom. So we're going to keep this line down here. That's the basic outline of his eye. And then we're going to do the same thing for his other eye over here. And as you can see, this eye you don't see quite as much of. That's because we're doing what would be called a 3/4 view. So his face is slightly turned away from the viewer just a little bit. So that means that not as much of this eye is going to be shown because it's not facing you, it's facing a little bit away from us. And in each eye we'll draw a small little oval shape for the highlight. And then that little crescent sort of shadow shape that goes in each of his eyes. It's a little bit harder to do in this smaller eye and get it to look clean. So there is that. Okay, so now let's move on to his legs. So starting at about the halfway point of his body, we're going to draw 2 more ovals for Charmander's legs. And they'll be fairly big, about maybe half the size of his head. So one there, and then another one here. And again, this one on the left is going to be a little bit smaller because it's facing away from us. And then draw a circle, or I guess an oval rather, kind of a flat oval, under each of his legs for his feet. And then starting right underneath of his chin on the right hand side of his body, we're going to draw his arms. So they start right underneath of his chin basically. So for his right arm, or I guess what would be his left arm, our right as we're looking at it, we'll draw it just kind of hanging down at his side a little bit. So draw a curved line that kind of curves inward toward his belly, and then another one that curves downward, and it'll meet in 2 pointed like sort of claws, I guess you would call them. And then just for fun, we'll do the other arm the exact same way, but we'll do that one maybe like pointing upward, almost like he's waving. Just a curved line up, 2 claws, and a curved line down. And then this one, this arm on the other side, you'll actually be able to see all 3 of his claws. So, something like that. And he is 2-tone, so his belly is a different tone from the rest of his body. It's a light color, while the rest of his body, of course, is red or orange. So we'll map that out. The underside of his beige colored belly, just as a simple little curve that almost touches his bottom jaw. And now all that's left to do is go in and give him a tail. And it's a short tail that just starts nearly at the very bottom of his body, just right above his feet. That curves upward a little bit, and then back toward his body. And then just a quick little flame at the end of his tail. And we'll give him 3 claws. I don't want to forget about that. 3 claws on each of his feet. And I guess actually we'll probably only be able to see 2 of them on this, because the third one isn't going to be visible. It's going to be hidden. So there you go. Again, it's a little bit messy, but what I like to do is actually go in with a fine liner with a pen like this and clean up the lines and then erase all my pencil. But if you wanted to, you could take another piece of paper and draw over it, just re-sketch your drawing now that you have kind of the initial sketch and kind of the blueprint done. You can go and trace over that on another sheet of paper and get a nice clean look, or you can just take a pencil and go over your lines, clean them up a little bit, do some erasing. But what I find to be best is just using this little fine liner, and then I can just erase the whole thing. It gives a nice clean look. So I'm going to do that here real quick in time lapse, and we'll be right back. Well, there you go. That is how to draw Charmander. Pretty quick and painless, right? Wasn't so bad. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, of course, because that always helps. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe if you want to catch all the new tutorials that I have on the way, because I have plenty more in the works. Hopefully you had fun with this video or had fun with this tutorial, and I hope to see you in the next one.